Hi guys, today we're looking at automations. So automations are things you can use to handle administrative tasks for your various matters. They're used to ensure that your data is correct and to basically ensure that everything keeps running smoothly by automating the tasks that you don't need to do manually. So in this example, we're going to go to our provisional patent matter called a new clothesline. If I click through, I'll go through to the matter screen shown here. As I mentioned in a previous video, I am using this example where I am an IP attorney and I file provisional patent applications. However, these automations and workflows could be used for any business procedure. So the first thing we want to do is set up some automations, and that is done in the workflow configuration page. So at the top, I will click on provisional patent, and automations are under this link on the left. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that when I start drafting a patent application, it gets sent to the client. So I click on add an automation and I just say drafting reminder, which is just a friendly name. And I'll just make it when I change a step. And I'll add a condition that when the step is changed to the drafting stage, let me update that, then I'll create an action that says, that sets a task. Now, when you create an action, you have two options. One is to queue it for approval. Any actions that are queued can be accessed in this actions approval screen, and that can be used for supervisory control over actions or automations. But here I'm just going to say process automatically, and I will say send to client for review. And let's just say that needs to be done 14 days after the trigger date, which in this case is the step change date, and that is assigned to the attorney, and this is important. Now this is in a tag that is assigned to the task, and as you may recall from the matter screen, you can filter tasks by tags. So let's update that. Okay, so just to summarize, this is a drafting reminder that when I change a step, and only when the step is changed to drafting, set a task 14 days after that reminds me to send the specification to the client for review. Okay, so let's now create another automation. Now this is once we've filed the patent application, so we'll just go set up filing details. And again, this is when I change a step, and let's add a condition that when I change the step to application filed, let's update that. Now what I want to do is create an action. Now for this action, I want to edit some data fields. So when I move to this step, a little window will pop up that will ask me to specifically input data for certain fields. So we can have the application title and the filing date. I think I also need an application number. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the data fields and I'll create a new data field, which is a number in this case, and this is the application number. I'll just call it number and add it to the application field, and I'll make it unique. So if I go back to my automation to set up the filing details, I am also going to say that we want to edit the application number. And that's all that I need to do in this case. And within 12 months of the filing of a provisional application, it expires. So in one of my data fields, we have the expiry date. I don't want to have to input that manually, so I'm going to create an automation that will set the filing date, and I will put the condition that it is when I update a data field. So when the data field that I update is the filing date, this is going to fire, and the action that's going to happen is I will update a data field, and I'm going to set the expiry date, and I'm going to set it for 12 months after the filing date. And you will see that there is an option here to only update this data field if a value is not already set. I'll leave that unchecked so that it updates every time. Okay, so those are some basic automations I use for my provisional applications. There are many other kinds of automations that you can use for your specific business processes. So let's try it out. So we go to a new clothesline, which is when the application is filed. So when I move to this stage, it'll pop up these data fields that I requested to be included. So I'll set the filing date to today, and the application number is 2024122. Just make up an application number in this example, and I update that. And if I scroll down, I see that the expiry date is automatically moved to 12 months from the filing date, so I don't need to worry about that filing date. So this has basically made the process very simple and ensure that my data values are correct. One last thing I want to show you is to ensure that I don't miss the expiry date. So I'll create an automation and I'll call it the expiry date reminder. And what I will say is that this is with reference to a data field. So I will say 7 days before the expiry date, this trigger is going to fire. And the action is it's going to send me an email to remind me. So I will generate an email and I will process automatically. So I select ad hoc email and that'll be to the attorney. And now we can just put some example body text, reminder of the expiry date. I can include the expiry date of by inserting a variable, and if I just get the expiry date and I copy it, put it here, and in the subject line I will put the matter ID. I prefix my matter IDs with MID, it just stands for matter ID, and I will include the application title. Alright, so I'll create that automation. So 7 days before the expiry date, it will send me a reminder. Let me just put that on process automatically, that I then should take action. So this is a great way to ensure that no deadlines are missed. I could have set any other kind of action, including setting a task, etc. So this ensures that I won't miss any deadlines according to the expiry date for this provisional patent application. So that's it, guys. Today we learned about automations and how they can be used to automate administrative tasks to save you that manual handling time and to ensure that your data variables are handled correctly and accurately. And in the next video, we'll be looking at sending emails.